What is going on, everybody? So today I'm taking you to an aquarium that we've been servicing for a long time. Now, for those of you who watch my channel, know that we've been kind of battling with this aquarium. We've had our ups and downs, we've had our successes, and there's been some failures. Now, if you watch the channel, you know that we do quarantine corals and quarantine fish here at Tanknicians. Unfortunately, the customer that has this tank got some corals from a third party, and with that came aptasia, bubble algae, hydroids, just a bunch of stuff, you name it. So as a service company, it's our job to try to manage these problems the best that we can. Anybody who's had aptasia knows that it's just a never-ending battle. I'm gonna go kind of walk with you guys through the process of what we did and the wins that we are now seeing. But we'll go through that whole process once we get to the tank. But first, I want to show you some really cool stuff here at the shop, and we got other customers to go to today, and we're gonna bring in some really cool stuff, so check it out. We have a bunch of beautiful rock flowers in stock now. There was a bit of issue getting rock flowers, but fortunately they are back in stock, and there are some really beautiful colors and types to choose from. So if you're in the area, come by Tanknicians and get your rock flower anemone. Also got some emerald crabs in here, which we will bring in with us today to a customer because we want to maintain and stay on top of the bubble algae that they have in their aquarium. So we'll bring about 5 of these. Fresh out of quarantine, going to a customer's tank. We got the bristletooth tang and a Midas blenny coming fresh out of quarantine. We delivered to a customer today. In this bucket, we have a red Serosa dotty back, which I'll show you guys once I acclimate them to the tank. And then in here, we have the Midas blenny and the blue-eyed cold tang. Over here, we got a bunch of peppermint shrimp, some rock flowers, some other coral, and a long spine urchin. So before we go to the customer's house, I'm at this local seafood market, popular place here in Tequesta, Florida. And I wanted to share it with you guys because yes, we do take care of lobster tanks. This is in a seafood market, like I said, and they're gearing up for a busy time of the year. It's season down here in Florida, which means all the snowboards from up north come down to Florida to escape the weather. And we're gonna do 100% water change on this, gravel vac, get it nice and cleaned up because they're gonna load this thing up with lobster tomorrow. So we wanna make sure that everything is good to go for it. 100% dry, took a bone down to nothing, gravel vac, got everything out, changed out the filter floss, but I thought this would be cool to show you. All right, so here is the aquarium. Get a closer look at everything. And this tank has been up for a long time, well established. Got a bunch of rock flowers. These were actually spitting out babies not too long ago. Got a nice variation of corals. Palygranus going crazy. The other thing we're gonna do here is this sponge, kind of an invasive sponge, is eating away at the rock. We have to, we're gonna end up having to take this rock out, but that's kind of like a keystone rock, so that's gonna be very difficult, but that sponge needs to go because it's spreading. And what's happening is there was coral right here, but that sponge is taking over and it's causing the coral to bail. So we gotta get this out before it spreads even more. That's not good. And then eventually it'll try to take over where that lepto is, and can't have that. Trumpets are doing good. These were dying. These waving hand anthelia are stinging them a bit. So we'll have to get in there and frag. You can see where the waving hand anthelia is touching. It's stinging the trumpet coral. As we go up here, nice coralline algae growth, star polyp growing on the overflow. Space invader pectinia looking good, little flame hawk. The favia underneath the flame hawk is looking a little boring, a little dull. That should be bright green. Zoas are still looking good. This wall frog spawn is dead. That should have been, the wall Euphyllia corals don't do good. I don't recommend the wall corals. Branching Euphyllia, the hammers, branching hammers, frog spawn, etc. Those are the ones I would do. I'd stay away from the walls. In our experience, the walls don't do well long term. Monopora red cap in the back needs a little bit more color. It probably needs a little bit more light too. It seems to be getting shaded out by the waving hand anthelia. Down below we have a pectinia that's doing good. Now that was bleaching. So what ended up happening here, this used to be all monopora. There was a huge rock and monopora cap all through here, and it was shading everything. So things were dying. We got rid of that, but it opened up a lot of light to areas that weren't getting light. And this Incredible Hulk lepto was dying back, but now it's growing. This pectinia was struggling, but now it's growing. Torch coral's doing good. Hammer coral's doing better. This is where we're having a problem here, is this Duncan coral. And that is because this tank was just littered, completely covered with aptasia. So we ended up having to get a mix of peppermint shrimp and aptasia eating fowl fish right there.
And anyone who's ever kept an aptasia-eating filefish knows that they do a good job at eating aptasia most of the time. They can be hit and miss, but once they eat all the aptasia, they start to turn their attention to other corals, and that's what's happening with this Duncan coral. As I speak, yeah, look, the aptasia-eating filefish is just hovering above the Duncan, just terrorizing it. And this used to be a big, huge, massive colony of Duncans, and it's just been reseeded, retracted ever since these aptasia filefish have turned their attention to it. And there's a very good chance we could lose that whole colony of Duncan corals if we do not get these filefish out of the tank. It's not going to be easy though, because this is a big tank. But on the positive note, these chalice corals that we're looking at right now, this one and the one above it, were both dying back, and they are starting to grow. They have great color on them, so that's a big win. Those are looking really bad. I thought we were going to lose those. Got the cabbage coral looking okay. There's a ton of algae on the rocks, which we've dosed some meds in here to get rid of it. It's starting to die. I'm going to dose some more medicine today. You can see there's still aptasia underneath that rock ledge. So there's still algae present. I didn't expect the aptasia filefish to get it all, but we're adding those peppermints in today to take care of the rest. Algae is starting to die off a bit, so that's good. Bubble coral's looking good and strong. This Euphyllia coral was getting beaten up there for a while. It was just getting stung by the hydroids. But if we look closely, there are some heads of hammer growing back, which I'm gonna get over here. Let me see, right there. A bunch of heads of the hammer growing back. So that's a good sign. Kind of blurry because of the angle I'm at. But yeah, there's a bunch of heads growing back there. That's awesome. Good sign, good sign. So now the mission is to try to get those aptasia-eating filefish out of this tank, and that is not going to be easy. So here I go. Blue-eye coal tang, acclimated and ready to go in. Excited to go in. Here we go. There it goes. Into the rock work. Into its new home. Hopefully it does a good job eating that algae. Spiny urchin, another addition that will help keep the algae clean off the rocks. Make my life a little bit easier is bring this dry rock. We're going to put it in the sump to let it cure, so that way when we do exchange that rock out, this rock won't get a bunch of diatoms on it. It'll already be cured. That's the plan. Can we talk about how badass this is? This is a SPS, so it's a Poslopora coral that's growing on the return pump. Like, how dope is that? Like, that's so cool to me. So this tank is definitely doing okay. It can grow coral, no problem, for sure. So I feel like we're headed in the right direction with this tank, and I just think there needs to be some fragging. So we need to get those fish out and just restructuring of this aquarium for it to kind of continue to get better and reach its full potential. Got the medicine in. We're going to leave the skimmer cap off. Be back here in about 2 weeks, and I'll do an update then, and hopefully we can get this sponge out too. Blue-eye coal tang is in the tank right now, already nipping at algae. That's a good sign, already doing its job. All right, well, that's where we're gonna leave it off for right now, and hopefully things will be looking up. I'm really frustrated that I was not able to get those filefish out here. That's really annoying. Otherwise, everything would be going great. So we're gonna have to come up with a plan B, and that plan B is probably gonna be going in here and just making a mess. But honestly, this tank could use a reconstruction and some things moving around. So sorry about the reflection in the back there, but that's the way it goes. Everybody else, other fish are doing good, but we definitely have our work cut out for us. All right, so it is frustrating. I wasn't able to get those aptasia-eating filefish out of there. We'll have to go back to the drawing board and figure that out. This tank has been going through some struggles, but it's nice to end on to be on a positive note right now, which is the aptasia looks well managed, and the corals are starting to come back, so that's a good sign. I still have some other jobs to do. If you guys want to hang on for a bit, I'll take you to those in a second. But I will keep you updated on this aquarium and let you know the progress. Probably gonna have to get in there and do like a whole revamp of the tank, because there's just so many things that it's honestly it's a lot right now. But step by step, the most important thing is the corals look good right now, and let's knock out the rest of that algae. The aptasia's gone, hydroids are gone.
we've done a lot to that tank. On to the next job.
All right, our next stop is a customer who has a 400-gallon display tank, 75 in the filtration, who's dealing with a bit of diatoms, green algae, dinoflagellates, mix of everything, I'm assuming. They started with live rock and quarantine coral. So, obviously when you start with dry rock, get all the variations of the microbiome community, all the different strains of bacteria. But by starting with dry rock, you also are able to, you can see a bunch of algae there, bacteria there. You're also able to avoid a lot of the issues that you would have with live rock. So, either you go with short-term success and long-term problems, or, short-term problems and long-term success. And the customer chose right to start with dry rock, I believe, and make sure everything is quarantined in here. What we're going to do today and why we're here is to take a sample of these algae, and we're going to put them under the microscope, and we're going to take a look exactly what we're dealing with so we can figure out how to treat them. We're going to get some scrapings from the green, the sand, the rock. We're going to take as much samples as we possibly can. I think I just put this urchin in like a week ago, and it's already doing a great job staying on top of the hair algae. And there is hair algae in the tank. Sample from the sand, sample from the rock, take this back to the shop and look it under the microscope and see what we're dealing with. All right, last stop for the day. We're headed to a customer house that has 2 saltwater aquariums, 1 reef, 1 kind of I guess a seahorse tank. And we're bringing her the dotty back, and we're gonna bring some coral as well. So this should be cool. And you guys can take a look at the tank too while we're here. All right. So here is their reef aquarium that is just getting started. It's got a decent amount of fish in here, but right now there's just zoas and some rock flowers. We're gonna get some more coral in here in the future. Just still waiting for the rock to cure a little bit. We're gonna add some little bit more moderate level corals, but we have some nice fish in here. We have, let's go through here. The rocks look pretty clean. Was dealing with some hair algae issues, but that's starting to go away. And the tank's starting to come into its own now. So I feel a lot better about putting coral in this tank now. But the fish are doing excellent. I mean, we have the chalk bass there. We have Borbonius anthias, aquaculture yellow tang, angel fish. I forget what, a Bellis angel. And we're also going to be adding these rock flowers to the tank as well. Here is the seahorse tank, and here are the seahorses. There's 2 right there hanging on their gorgonian. The other one back by the star polyp. This tank we have to watch a little bit closer because you can't put any type of coral in here because obviously it has to be compatible with seahorses. So Discosoma red mushrooms looking amazing. Got some more mushrooms on the rock right there. And the fish too have to be compatible. So we got 2 fire shrimp, we got a bang-eyed cardinal, a big one, a golden Cuban basslet, beautiful. Green star polyp on the sand here. Toadstool looking good. Blue Xenia looking amazing. Palette grandis. Yeah, everything's looking good except for that giant Aptasia. Ooh, Scooter Blenny coming through. Look at that guy. So that's a problem. And we got a bright orange sponge in the back here. And another beautiful Discosoma mushroom. So this tank is doing pretty well. Oh, another seahorse right there. Where are you at? Right there. They love those gorgonians. That's like their favorite thing to attach to. And a cabbage coral. Cabbage coral's looking healthy. Yeah, a little bit of macroalgae, but for the most part, the macroalgae is kind of dying, which I'm not too worried about. It looked cool for a second, but I think honestly, people enjoy the coral a lot more, so I'm not gonna worry about the macroalgae right now. Maybe we'll put some more gorgonians in and some more corals that the seahorses can hang on to. Even got the star polyp growing on the back there. That'd be dope if it like can grow through the whole back of the tank. I would love to see that. Ooh, scissor tail coming out to say hi, and a dragonette on the bottom there, another one. Look, decent amount of fish in this tank. Oh, is that a Hector goby back there? Adding our dotty back to the reef tank. And hopefully he gets along with everybody. For all you fish nerds out there, can you name what this fish is right here? It's a beauty.
We are back at the shop now, and I got those samples of those algae that we got from that customer's tank with the big 400-gallon system, the brown algae, and we're gonna take this out right now, put it on the microscope, and see what we got, what we're looking at, and see how, once we figure out what it is, then we can figure out how to eradicate it. Sample is prepped, ready to go on the microscope. There's a dinoflagellate. There is some diatoms. There is a weird-looking worm that is in there. What is that doing? Is it munching? Is it eating the dinoflagellate? Looks like we got diatoms. Microscope right here. As close as I can zoom for now. I did see dinoflagellates in here somewhere.
All right, so that little worm-looking thing is a nematode, and then there to the right, that little flaky-looking thing that's wiggling around, the brown thing, that's the dinoflagellates. So we identified that we do still have dinoflagellates in the aquarium. There's also hair algae and a ton of diatoms, so.
All one. All right, so what are we looking at, Tommy?
We are looking at osteo, diatoms, rotifers, nematodes, some weird thing. Some copepod nauplii.
Currently, we're trying to get rid of the dinoflagellates. That's what we're really mainly looking at right now, to see what kind of dinoflagellates they are so that we know how to treat them.
But sometimes it's hard to focus when there's all this cool stuff.
It is. I get distracted too. Well, if you guys would like to see a video on the microscopic world of the saltwater aquariums, let me know down in the comments. I would love to do a video like that. It's really fun once you really see what's in just a single drop of water. This is part of our service, is what we do. We have to get in there and see what we're dealing with as far as dealing with customers and their issues that they're having in their tank. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. This was a long video. See you in the next one.